Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Teach Me to Code screencast. This is Charles Max Wood, and this week I'm going to be showing off basically testing your Rails app with Capybara. Now, I mentioned on the Ruby Rogues podcast on the first one that I had switched from using Cucumber to using Capybara. Now I've switched actually a couple of things, and you're going to see some of the other tools that I've been using. One of them is that I've moved away from TextMate. I've decided that I want to master either Emacs or Vim. And I've actually been using MacVim for the last probably a week. And it's been really, it's just been awesome. I'm probably going to try out, I used to use Aquamax. I used Aquamax for a few weeks quite a while ago. And I'll probably switch to that here in another week or two. And then after that, then I'll have kind of a post-mortem with myself, and I'll decide which tool I'm going to use. But anyway, I have determined to use Vim exclusively while I'm working on this stuff. So that means that in the videos, you get the benefit of seeing, or the, not benefit, what's the opposite of a benefit? Detriment of my Vim expertise or lack thereof. So anyway, That's just in fair warning. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. We're looking at Capybara. Now, Capybara actually has added, I'm on the GitHub page right now, has added quite a bit of nice stuff for its just using it with RSpec. And you can see here that this is just an example of some of the stuff. You can set a scope around stuff that you look up. You know, you fill stuff in, you have this little click link. I mentioned Stake in the last Ruby Rogues podcast as my pick, and somebody pointed out that there's some DSL stuff that looks a whole lot like Stake, and I'm trying to find it here. Oh, here we go. So you require the DSL, and then if you've been using Stake, you should see something. Where is it? I'll just find it this way. Here it is. So you have this feature, scenario, background. If you're used to Cucumber, then these terms should be pretty familiar to you. Anyway, I want to show you something here. If you click on sign out in FreeMark, I had a few people talk to me about the Delicious clone. This is my Delicious clone. It's called FreeMark. I actually own the domain, but I haven't done anything with it. Anyway, if you click on sign out, it doesn't do anything. In fact, all of these links are kind of stubbed in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make them do stuff, and I'm going to use RSpec and Capybara to test drive it. So the first thing that we need to do is we're going to fire up old MacVim. If you move the mvim executable from MacVim into your path, then you can just run it and it'll launch MacVim for you. The first thing that we need to do is I'm actually going to pull open the gem file here just to show you that we already have everything that we need for this. First off, we have Capybara, which is a requirement for what we're going to be doing. The other one here is RSpec Rails. And finally, if you want to do the, I think in Cucumber it's then show me the page, you can do that straight up in Capybara with a save and open page, and you need Launchy for that. So anyway, we have all of that. We're going to probably see some Factory Girl in here, and that should kind of get you an idea of what we're working with. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to open up the spec helper first. Edit spec helper. Oh, it looks like it's already open in another MacVim window. I was playing with this stuff earlier. Let me find it really quickly and close it down. Aha, it's right here. Load all. Okay. I guess we'll just do it here. So anyway, there are a couple of things that you need to do in order to make Capybara work for you here. Really, really simple. So the first thing you need to do is you require Capybara RSpec. And the other one is, since we're in a Rails app, is Capybara Rails. You're good to go. Right there. Straight up. Okay, so what we need to do then is we want to be making sure that that when we sign out, when we click that sign out link, that it actually does something. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a spec, or we're going to edit the spec. And in case you're not following where I'm changing the files and stuff, it's right down here at the bottom. :E, it actually switches it over to edit. So spec, requests, and we only have bookmarks spec in there right now. I don't think that's a bookmarks feature. I think it's an authentication feature. So we'll just go ahead and stick it in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, first off, we're going to require spec helper. And then we're going to describe the sign out link so that we have context for this, and then it should sign you out when clicked. I'm still getting used to it putting the ends on the end, because in TextMate it never did that for me. Honestly, and this is a tangent, but I'm going to throw it in anyway. Between MacVim and TextMate, there are a few things that I like about MacVim, and there are a few things that I miss about TextMate. MacVim, I'm using Janus, which is a project by Carl Huda, Carl Lerche, and Yehuda Katz. And you can find it on GitHub under Carl Huda /Janus, Janus. Anyway, it does all the highlighting. It's really convenient. It seems to pick up on real quick what I'm doing. The only problem that I really have with it, that I miss with it, is the Command T in TextMate, and I don't know what that's called, but basically you hit Command T, you start typing the name of a file, and it finds it. James Buck, when I interviewed him on the Teach Me to Code podcast, and if you go to teachmetocode.com/podcast, it's the second one down. I have another interview up there now. He said that he found a way to do that in Vim, so I need to figure that out. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with Vim. The editing seems to go a little bit faster. I think once I get used to the key bindings and stuff, it'll go a lot faster, which is the whole point, is so that I can get more done in the time that I'm working. It makes my time more valuable, and it makes me more efficient for my clients. So anyway, and I'm always looking for that, the more efficiency, both for me and for my clients. I just feel like I like feeling like I got a ton done, and I like giving maximum value to my clients. So anyway, so what we're going to do first is we're going to do login user, and that doesn't exist yet. I'm just going to warn you. And if I were going to do test driven on my tests, then I would run it and watch it blow up, but I'm not going to do that. So anyway, we're going to do login user, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the page has content. So, and has content is something that's defined by Capybara, and if you use visit to hit the page, and then use the Capybara processes to process the page from then on out, then page will be uploaded with or it'll have the latest context, the HTML context. So basically your last page. Anyway, so in this case, it should have content. If you're familiar with the RSpec conventions there. So it should have content, welcome. And then we're going to click the link, sign out, and then the page should have content sign in, and the page should not have content welcome. All right. So we're going to go ahead and write that, and that's a :W if you're wondering, if you're watching me down here in the bottom. We need to go back to the spec helper. And that's where we're going to define login user. So we're going to go all the way to the bottom, and we're just going to define it here. Login user. You can also define this in other helper files and include them in this file. Usually if I get more than a couple of them, then I'll do that, but it's not worth it here. So anyway, login user, and login user is something that I'll probably be using in other specs, so I put it in here. If it was something that was just going to be used in that one spec file, then I would actually just put it in there and not worry about it. But this is something that's pretty handy. You'll notice that I created steps for it in Cucumber, and so I'm going to need it here. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do visit new user session path. I don't remember if it's new user or new users, but we'll find out. That's the fun of test driven, right? So then we're going to fill in, and you can put the label in for the field. So we're going to fill in email with, and we need a user. So we're going to use our factory here at user equals factory.create user. And we need them to be in the database so that they can be authenticated. So we're using create instead of build. At user.email, fill in password with user.password. Now, one thing that you may want to know about here is if you I have a syntactic error on this line, and so that's something that I found that MacVim does very nicely for me, is that it'll flag a syntax error for me. So anyway, fill in. So we fill those in, and then we're going to click the button that says sign in, if I can type. And that should get us signed in. It should do all the processing. It should redirect us back to the page that we're dealing with. So then if we come over here, and we run our specs, then it should do awesome stuff. Now, I've had a few people mention several times that I should be using Spork for this. And I honestly haven't gotten around to looking at it. But I haven't done much with demoing specs for a while. I think it would speed up my development process a little bit because I run specs all the time when I'm coding. All right, so no such file to load Capybara RSpec. So let's do a bundle update Capybara. And this might take a minute, so I'm probably going to cut it out. In fact, let's go see what the latest version of Capybara is. Because, yeah, I haven't updated stuff on this app for a while. It's 0412. What version are we using? Okay, we're using 040. Now, the good news is that I'm pretty sure that I already have Capybara installed on this machine, the latest version, so upgrading it shouldn't be a big deal. And you'll notice that all of these are going to say using instead of, installing. That's because I already have the upgraded gems installed, including Capybara, because I'm using the latest version on another project. So the nice thing is that it doesn't have to go out and install any of it. It just has to update the gemfile.lock. So anyway, now that we have that, let's go ahead and run this again and see what we get. I also want to note that there are some failing specs on this since the last time I did anything with it. So you're going to see something fail on the bookmark spec, and that's something that I'm just going to have to go in and fix. But I will go in and fix it later. All right. So you can see here that it's expected to have the content sign in, and it doesn't. So if we look at our spec here, I don't think we're going to be using the gem file, just in case we have to edit that. So spec requests, authentication spec. So it's getting all the way to this line right here. Page should have content. So what we'll go ahead and do is the problem, I'm pretty sure, is in the layout, because that's where that header with the welcome is defined. So let's go ahead and open that up. App views, layouts, application control, or application. It says that's open somewhere too. Let me find that one real quick. I have a few windows open here. In fact, let me just close these all. Oh, here we go. Load all. Okay. So yeah, so it's right here. You can see that I kind of did a dry run with this. Anyway, so we have this welcome text right here. There's nothing that's going to show the sign in, sign out. So what we can do here is we can add a line here if current user and then what we can add in here, I'm pretty sure we haven't added any profile properties yet. So current user, I know they have an email, so we'll just do that. And then we want to make it past that spec, right? So we're going to have a link to sign in. New user session path. And then I'm going to put an if on this one as well. All right, so we got that all written. Now let's go ahead and run our spec. All right, it's expected to have content sign in, and it does not. So let's go ahead, if current user blah, blah, blah. So let's go ahead and have a look here. I'm pretty sure that I know what the problem is. In fact, I do know what the problem is. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at our spec one more time. Let's see. So, app, no, it's spec, requests, application, or authentication. Okay. So it's right here. We click the sign out link and it should have content sign in. So if we look at the layout, which we can get to by running BP, which is open the previous deal. If you look at this, you can actually see that we have link to sign out and it goes to this hash, or the hash mark. So, doesn't go anywhere. You click sign out and it doesn't do anything. So I don't remember the exact helper, so I'm going to cheat here. Rake routes pipe grep session, because I'm pretty sure it's like destroy user session or something like that. But anyway, so the rake routes should tell me which route I need to hit or what the helper name is. Yeah, it's destroy user session right here. And the reason that I use these routing helpers as opposed to the actual paths is because they usually, if something changes in the way that things are set up, then you can set things up so that the names of the paths don't change by using an as in your route when you match stuff. So anyway, so we've made that change. So let's go ahead and come over here and run our spec again. And it passed. So there we go. Now, one other thing that I want to show you in our specs here is, let's say that at this point right here, we want to open the page. All you have to do is save and open page. And if you have Launchy installed, it will do that for you. So if we run it now, then it'll pop up the page and do all that awesome stuff. There you go. So the only thing that I have left that I want to point out is that there are a few other things that you can do within Capybara and RSpec that that makes things pretty handy. You can test the current path, and I didn't go into that. But the other thing is you can fill in, but there's choose for radio buttons, check and uncheck. You can attach a file. You can select from a select box. You have these selectors. You can also use selectors instead of, should have content if you want to find, make sure that it contains a table with the table row in this case, or it doesn't have a selector. You can do the XPath testing, and the one warning that it gives you with XPath, I don't see it exactly anywhere here, but anyway, the double forward slash, and this is something that's caught me a few times, is anywhere in the document. And even if you do a within and then you do another double slash, it still does anywhere within the document. If you want to use the current context, then right before that double forward slash, put a dot in, and that will scope it to whatever scope that you're currently in. And other than that, I really hope this helps. I found that it actually sped up my my acceptance testing by a factor of about 2. In other words, I am twice as fast on writing the tests. And it's just really, really super handy. I don't know if it made my specs run any faster over my Cucumber tests. I can only assume that it did because it doesn't have to parse the regular expressions and figure out which step to run. But anyway, I thought I would throw that out there and let you know that, yeah, this is my new favorite alternative for acceptance testing. And the only reason that I would use Cucumber at this point is if somebody decided that they wanted to start reading my tests. So in other words, if one of my clients, wanted to see what specifications I was building to, then I would actually start using Cucumber for them. But most of my clients don't care. All they want to know is that, hey, I went to the website, I clicked on whatever, or I filled in whatever, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do. In fact, most of them don't even care if I write tests. The only reason that they don't object to me writing tests is because I've basically explained to them, hey, this is part of my workflow. It guarantees that your application keeps working. And if somebody comes in and starts messing with stuff, then they should know pretty fast that they broke something because one of the tests will fail. So anyway, that's Capybara and RSpec in a nutshell. So go check it out. Thanks. Need expert help with your Ruby, Rails, or Sinatra application? Give me a call. My phone number is 801-367-6164, or you can email me, chuck@teachmetocode.com. Thank you. New Relic is the leading provider of application performance management tools for Ruby and Java applications. Thousands of companies use New Relic RPM to monitor, troubleshoot, and optimize applications deployed either in the cloud or in dedicated hosting environments. RPM Lite is free, fully supported, unlimited time version available at www.newrelic.com. All the leading Rails companies use New Relic, including 37 Signals, AT&T Interactive, Shopify, OurStage, IGN, and lots more.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!